And if they are called up and if their documents are taken and reviewed, what does that mean for, say, Mark Meadows?
Well, a lot of this will depend on Trump's penchant for going to the courts. I have a sneaking suspicion that Donald Trump will tell the National Archivists, no, you cannot, I do not authorize you giving all these documents out. And then you're probably going right into the courts. And what I think he's banking on and what he's going to try to get his acolytes to agree with him on is the longer you take to ultimately allow these documents to be seen by the American public, the more likely they are to lose interest. And having subpoenaed things and had to go to court as a senator to get things from a company, we went all the way to the Supreme Court, and literally it took years to get the decision to actually compel testimony. So one of our big weaknesses in our system right now is we do not have a prioritization in the courts of determinations on congressional investigations and their ability to get witnesses and documents. So I'm guessing that this is going to take a while, because I think that Donald Trump will use every tool he's got. He's very familiar with trying to stall things in the courts.
You know, Claire, we haven't talked about it enough on this show, but while we're talking about a group of thugs trying to overturn an election, an American presidential election, why don't we bring up, I'd love to get you to talk to our friends that are watching right now, listening right now on radio. Talk about, speaking of thuggery, John Eastman's memo, where he gave Mike Pence advice on basically how to shred the Constitution, how to undermine the will of the 80 million, 82 million voters who voted for Joe Biden, and basically trash American democracy.
Yeah, what's really scary about that memo, Joe, is this is a man who was trusted to teach law students. I mean, let that roll around in your brain for a minute. I mean, the idea, I listen to the people on the right saying, oh, higher education is full of communist teachers and socialist teachers, and it's all left wing. This guy, this nut job, was behind a lectern in a law school teaching students about the law. And clearly he has no respect for the law. I cannot imagine how this guy could keep a law license. I think any court, I don't care how Trumpian the court is, would look at that memo and look at the reality of a founding fathers document that we have lived by and been proud of all these many years, and not say, hey, you don't belong in the law, buddy. You belong out there, maybe selling computers somewhere, because this is not something that you should be embracing, and nobody should respect this guy's opinion. I would like to find another law professor that says that John Eastman's memo was anywhere close to a reality under our Constitution.
Well, yeah, and the problem is, Mika, that he wrote that memo and used his legal training at one of the most dangerous times in this country's recent history, when there was a president actively working to overturn the results of a U.S. election, a presidential election. And that memo actually sought legal justification to overturn an election, to throw out the results of an election, to not count electoral votes on January the 6th. It's breathtaking, and I agree with Claire. I can't imagine who would want their children to be taught by somebody that was actively working to try to undermine election results.
No idea.